What's up, everybody? David from Pro Duo Flippers here. Today, just going to talk about how much you should be selling as an eBay seller. I know a lot of people are new to eBay, or they've been on eBay for quite a while, but they're selling some. They feel like maybe they're not selling enough compared to other people, or they just don't really know if they're selling a good amount or not. So I wanted to talk today about what you can expect as an eBay seller, how much you should likely be selling if you're a part-time seller or if you're a full-time seller. I will share my exact numbers for how much I'm selling compared to how much I've listed, and um, just talk about some different reasons of why you might be selling more or less or whatever. So um, let's get into it. I can start by sharing um, my numbers. In the past, I used to sell about, I would say, 1% of my listings per day. That used to be kind of the norm. And from what I had seen on eBay, that was the norm for a lot of people. I don't know if that is the norm still for everybody or not, or if that is just the norm for a certain size of seller. I haven't seen people saying that quite as much lately. And so I will say that my numbers are no longer 1%. And what does that even mean? So, like, let's say you have 100 listings. If you're selling 1% of your listings per day, then you're at selling one item per day. So if you have 500 listings, you might be selling 5 items per day. If you have 1,000 listings, maybe 10 items per day. If you have 3,000 listings, maybe 30 listings per day. Um, that was the norm for a long time. I don't know if it still is. So this video should maybe help you or give you an idea, and maybe it won't help you. I don't know. But I no longer sell at a 1% sell through rate per day. When I tend to think of sell through rate, I tend to think of on a monthly basis. So what that 1% means on a monthly basis would be like a 30% sell through rate. So historically, I used to be at a 30% sell through rate, and it has dropped over the past couple of years. And we can talk about reasons why you may be seeing that. But I would say for the typical part-time seller, you may likely be at that 1% level. Like I said, it's going to come down to a bunch of different factors. I'm going to go ahead and show you my numbers and show you where I'm at exactly right now, and talk about what has happened to my sell-through rate over the past year and some reasons about why uh, it may have dropped. So as you can see, I will put the numbers up right here. So the easiest way to calculate it is if you look at your eBay app, it'll show your 90-day totals. It'll show you where your listings are at and how many you've sold in the past 90 days. So if you take, so for me, I currently have 2,900 listings. It's been about that. It's grown a little bit over the past 90 days. So I suppose if you're taking my numbers, they could be slightly higher because 90 days ago my listings were a little bit lower. So, but we're just trying to get a rough estimate here. So if you take your total sales, so you can see here that I've sold 1,512 sales in the past 90 days. So if you take that and divide it by your total listings, 2,900, that gives you a number. For me, it's 51%. What that means is I am selling half of my listings every 90 days. So, but if you want to get to your monthly, then you just divide that 90 days by 3, right? And that basically gives you your 30-day or your monthly sell-through rate. So 51% divided by 3 comes to about 17%. That's what my monthly sell-through rate is right now. I'm not super happy with it. It has definitely been higher than that in the past. This is about as low as it's ever been. So the past 2 months have been in the 17% range. And I would say this time a year ago was more around the 25% range, and even up as high as like 29%, a few months before that. So it's probably going to be higher in the fourth quarter. It's going to be lower in the first quarter. First quarter being the first few months of the year. And there's going to be different reasons for why maybe it's gone down. And so let's talk about, for me personally, why I think my sell-through rate has gone down. So like I said, historically, it's been about 30%. I've really been pushing my listings up higher to grow so I can increase my income. And I think there's a couple things that are probably coming into play there. One that's come into play is I have a lot more listings. And a lot of those, and in my quest to have higher listings, I probably have listed some things that are not as good of quality or not as in demand in the marketplace. And so I probably have quite a few listings that are I'm talking like hundreds of listings probably that are just not that great of listings and are going to sell slow or may never even slow at all. I know I do have some listings that are as old as like 3 years old now. And so I leave them there because they're not really costing me anything, right? So what one change that happened over the past about a year ago maybe is that eBay changed the amount of listings that you could have for a premium store that were free. So it used to be that you could only have 1,000 free listings, and so and it used to be I was maintaining about 1,300, 1,500 or so listings. And so what I would do is I would purge out my old listings that weren't very good. I would remove them from the site. And so what that did was what kept me from keeping, bad inventory, basically items that are going to sell slow or weren't selling at all. I would pull them and just donate them, get rid of them however I could. So because of that, that probably kept my sell-through rate higher. So I kept my listings down because I didn't want to pay whatever it was, 10 cents a listing or whatever for stuff that wasn't going to sell, 10 cents every month. I know it sounds small, but if it's not going to sell, then I might as well get it off the site. So about a year ago or so, eBay increased my free listings as a premium store subscriber from 1,000 to 10,000. All of a sudden, all those extra listings weren't costing me anything at all ever. And so I stopped removing them from eBay. And so what that means for me is that now I'm up to 2,900 listings, and probably I have a few hundred listings that I should be pulling off. And if I had pulled those off, I would be at 2,600 listings. And if you recalculated I would probably have the same sell-through, same amount of sales, but with less listings, and that would make my sell-through rate higher. Maybe it would be 22% or something. So that's one big reason, probably the main reason why my sell-through rate has dropped. And so if your sell-through rate is lower than you'd like it to be or lower than mine, then maybe you look at your listings and think, am I listing in high demand items, and etc. So the other reason my sell-through rate might be slower is that I think that the economy and eBay is just in general is slower this year compared to last year. So there's probably a number of reasons for that. One, I think, is just people have less money this year than last year. Basically, there is no stimulus money coming in like that we had last year, and in general, prices for almost everything is much higher this year. So that leaves a lot of extra or a lot less extra income for people to just be spending on things online. The other half of that is that I sell a lot of used clothing, so maybe that could be going up a little bit because of people having less money. But then there are other things that come into play, like maybe people have less money, and so maybe more and more people are selling online. So I have more competition too, which is also going to reduce my amount of sales, right? So and that's not even all of it. There could be 10 other reasons I could probably think of that could be affecting, how much I'm selling, right? I think another thing that I'm doing is probably pricing a little bit higher because I'm spending less time doing research for my items when I list. And so that could be a reason why I have less sales because I'm priced a little higher. On the flip side, I'm also sending offers and doing promoted listings that I wasn't doing before, which should be elevating my amount of sales. So what else could be affecting it? A year ago, I can't remember it might have been a year and a half ago, I stopped doing free returns. That could be hurting my sales a little bit. I don't know. So like I said, there's a lot of reasons, or things that are influencing possibly my sell-through rate. So anyway, mine is about 17%. How does that compare to other sellers who have quite a few listings? I recently heard Chris at Daily Refinement talk about how many sales he was getting before he got unfortunately suspended from eBay. How many he was getting and how many Tech and Sports was getting. I remember he said that Tech and Sports had about 50,000 listings and he was getting about 250 sales per day. That comes down to about 0.5% a day, which would be about 15% a month. So I'm doing about 17% a month, so I'm doing slightly better. So that correlates, right? That makes sense. And Chris, I think, was talking his numbers. I can't remember what things they were, but when I was, sometimes when I'm watching a video and I hear people talk about their numbers, I stop it and I calculate what they're getting for their sell-through rate. And his was about the same as Tech and Sports. So maybe, maybe that's just how it goes, where as you get bigger, maybe you can expect about 0.5% of your listings to sell each day. And of course, this is going to be very affected by what you have for sale. So if you're selling, brand new iPhones and you're selling them at the cheapest price available, you're probably going to have 100% sell-through rate, right? But if you're selling clothing, or me, I'm kind of an everything seller, but I sell the majority of what I sell is clothes, or what I list as clothes, I should say. So clothing tends to be a little bit slower. Collectibles might be even slower. Depending on what you're selling, it just depends on how much demand there is. It depends on where you price your items. It depends on how well of a listing you do. If you have better pictures, or if you have not very good pictures and high prices, your sell-through rate's probably gonna be really low. If you're selling brands that are not in very high demand, then your sell-through rate's probably gonna be slower. If you're selling strictly Patagonia and Carhartt or whatever the most popular items are, then your sell-through rate might be higher, as long as you're not pricing yourself too high. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of give you a breakdown for people who don't understand like how much they should be selling. There may be some truth to smaller sellers having a higher sell-through rate, and as you grow, eBay gives you less traffic. I don't know, or it may be reversed. Maybe you get more traffic. Obviously there are things that you could do with eBay that they're probably going to give you more traffic. So they want you to ship fast. They want you to have good feedback, and buyers to be happy with what they're getting from you. They would like to see you offer returns. Free returns would be the best probably, and they want basically great customer service. And so if you are doing all those things, you're probably going to get more traffic. If you're promoting listings, you're going to get more traffic. So it's up to you. It's your business. You decide what policies you want to use. And I would say I do 30-day returns. I don't do free returns, although I'm considering it. And I might make another video about that. I used to do free returns and I quit doing it, and I'm considering going back to it. So that'll probably be a future video coming up soon. But I do 30-day returns. I do 1-day handling. I ship everything within 1 business day. And I try to price somewhat competitively. I don't price the cheapest, but I don't price the most expensive either. And I do send offers to interested buyers. I do promote my listings at around 2%. So I do all those things to try to get extra traffic to my listings and to make extra sales. But there's more that I could do probably. But like I said, that's my sell-through rate is about 17% a month. And I'm happy with that. What that means, like if you go back to the 90 days, it was 50%. So basically half my listings will sell every 90 days. And so what else does that mean? That means in 180 days, I'm turning my complete inventory over, basically. I don't, because there's a lot of old stuff that's still there and still there and still there. But that basically means that twice a year, I'm selling my complete inventory, basically. So I'm selling however many I have listed, I'm selling that many in 6 months. So and it might be more than, it's probably going to be more than that, because I'm going to keep listing more and more. So last year I sold 6,000 items, but that would have meant if I was selling everything, the amount of listings I had twice, that would have mean I had 3,000 listings, and I didn't have 3,000 listings last year. I'm not even at 3,000 listings yet. So I'm hoping to sell 7,000 items this year. And so maybe that means I'll be higher than the 50% every 90 days. So anyway, that's a lot of numbers and a lot of maybe confusing information. But if you have questions or comments, please leave them below. I will read all your comments. I will answer all your questions. So if you need me to help you figure out your sell-through rate, you could just tell me how many you have listed and how many sales you've had in the last 90 days, and I can figure it out for you if it's too confusing or anything. But like I said, if you have any questions or comments, let me know. Hopefully this video was helpful and you can kind of get an idea of where you are, how much you're actually selling per month, and if you're selling the right amount, and maybe a few things you can change if you are not selling as much as you'd like to. All right, thanks guys.